Quelqu'un nange zo yeki sus peu qui peut même tsapa mingtone tsamtitash le shuai. Dere ngadela shua di injina la shuai. 2014 marks the 65th year of Chinese occupation of Tibet. Since 1949, thousands of Tibetans have been killed and thousands of sacred monasteries destroyed. It is inevitable that Tibetans are still suffering under this brutal occupation. In marking the 65th annual United Nations Human Rights Day, Tibetan Women's Organization in Switzerland earnestly requests that the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights to support for the release of Tulku Tenzin Delek in order to get medical treatment, as his physical condition is very critical. And we also request to focus on health conditions of all political prisoners who are suffering with serious illness in Chinese prison and detention centers. Tibetan political prisoners endure harsh prison conditions, including torture, deprivation of food and sleep, and long periods in isolation cells. The majority of Tibetan political prisoners have been convicted of crimes relating to peaceful political activities and for simply exercising their fundamental human rights. The well-known religious leader Tulku Tenzin Delek Rinpoche has been imprisoned for 12 years and falsely charged with being involved in the April 2002 bombing in the central square of Sichuan's capital. During the latest visit, it was observed that Rinpoche's physical condition has become very critical. He has heart problems, often falls unconscious, and his whole body shivers when he speaks. Rinpoche's death sentence was commuted to life imprisonment, and since then there has been no change to his circumstances. Chinese authorities are continuously accusing and arresting innocent Tibetans on false charges. In August 2013, Lobsang Kunjok, a 40-year-old monk from Kirti Monastery in Ngaba, and his 31-year-old nephew, Lobsang Tsering, were arrested for allegedly inciting 8 people of self-immolate. The Intermediate People's Court of Ngaba Prefecture further charged Lobsang Kunjok with passing on information about the self-immolations to overseas media. He was given a death sentence, suspended for 2 years, and denied political right for life. Lobsang Tsering was given a 10-year prison sentence and denied political rights for a further 3 years. On March 14, 2013, self-immolator Kunjok Wangmo's husband, Dolmatyap, was arrested for refusing to accept that his wife's death was due to their family feuds. 5 months later, the Intermediate Court of Ngaba region announced that he was to be sentenced to death, stating that he strangled his wife to death and burned her body after an argument over his drinking problem. Even though the situation has become extremely severe and intense, to this day China has not taken any steps to resolve the conflict as a result of their failed policies. Instead, unshamedly, they falsely convict family members, friends, and relatives of self-immolators as murderers and incitors. Since 2009, over 140 Tibetans have self-immolated inside of Tibet. It is an undeniable truth that these martyrs have set themselves on fire to voice how minorities are suffering under the Han Chinese. They are suffocating under the inhumane policies that deny their basic human rights, such as the freedom of expression, the freedom of religion, and the freedom of preserving one's native language. These repressions are undoubtedly expressed in the testaments left by these self-immolators. Today, on the annual United Nations Human Rights Day, we turn towards the United Nations High Commissioner of Human Rights, the Working Group on Arbitrary Detention, Amnesty International, International Court of Justice, Human Rights, section of the UN, Women and Committee Against Torture, and call them to intervene in the unjust trials and arbitrary detentions of innocent Tibetans. Moreover, we also urge the United Nations to send their peacekeeping operations into Tibet now. Tanda injina malo vadigi chukts pegana shibina nganzo karike chumbu tongo dusina pela sidengi tsemba pems mangu yor di nganzo samula kingi yorwa yine chik tsemba dunzuki ming rere jani chik temba yina manga chik pento metro sam nganzo danzo dela dina la nganzo ming kashe chik tembio danda tangbu dela trugu tenzi dele rimbuche krani nguneta lochungni ri zonga na shuvre kran lange ma nidon da ni la gare yami ki gare sigor sina bam yubres cheni kran la dindes kunzi sigor di cheni zonga na danda badu chu yores ani kran danda kumje dinde tu ba kapla kunzu ki ta kusular di danda nyingi na di naza yesere ani kran kusu debu che yesamare dela ni kasa chik charo nangro chi shuya chan dine shemba di tanda kirti gomba ne kusho chik lopsan kunjo la shunge chik du kran kunglo shipchu resha an kran ki pingya ki pu chik lopsan tsiring singe kran sumchu so chik resha kran ni ki ani chik kasa tanda susu ranglu kasa meta tange dindela Titangu res chen utsu gyab res cheni kunzula tim tang yusere zonga na chusha anti mixe dando lopsa kunjala gemba di krangi danda di par dinde lungba shemba nupcho lungba la dinde tang yusere dela ni krala tim dinde tangsha pet mitzela kasa zonga na shuya andene tanta sumba de dire kunjo wangmalas shunge chikdu kran di susuki subu meta tani kran ki kunda di drama kyabla gyami ki kran sina kran ni nyamdom hadun je kran di changtung yeza ani kran ke me di sej ani meta tambres shini di tumze di thone kran tombres ani kran ke susuki ranglus kasatin stan yobdi mares chini di chani timgang la dindes kasa zongana dindes chusha dela nganzu ki ta di nyamde gezo ki dela shimju yago chinang ro nas and dela ani tapshe kari yuna chik tang ro nas chani shuyare tu chena